Hi everyone, I want to talk about what's going to go on this week. So we're going to have a little different week. The readings and the videos this week are a bit of a hodgepodge of items that I want you to look over and learn, not necessarily a formalized lesson plan. I'm flipping over to the course page real quick. So first, your discussion board is going to be a little bit different. So let me go to I think I'm in the right course. Okay. All right, discussion boards. All right, so week 13 discussion board. Hey, if you ever wondered what it looks like from my side, this is what it looks like. So I'll just go back. All right. So what do I want to talk about this week? So after this week, the last 3 weeks of the class are going to be your project. The first week of the project, so next week, you're going to be building out a spec, a product specification for what you're going to build. You're going to spend some time this week rounding out what you've learned about Python, introducing yourselves to a few more tools that are available. I posted a video on kind of clean command line interface design. Essentially, you're going to be building a cybersecurity tool that a professional like you and me could use in the field. So you've learned a lot from open source intelligence gathering to sending phishing emails. You don't want to do this stuff manually. You want to do this stuff building a tool, and that's what you're going to build. So the discussion board is going to be two parts. One, go find a tool out there. It doesn't have to be written in Python. A command line tool that's used for cybersecurity. And talk about it. It's essentially use it as your muse for the project that's going to start next week. One example is the Social Engineer Toolkit, or SET. I put a GitHub link here in the example. Why do I like it? It's a really clean user interface, very easy to use. One of my big interests is phishing, and it helps me build out phishing plans and tool sets for various clients I work with. So that's why I like it. And then the Python requests module is great because it allows me to easily tap into RESTful APIs. So like one of our earlier labs, we can tap into an email verification service, an easy API call, receive a response. I can parse the text, makes it easy. So two things for this week's discussion board. One, find a tool that you like, install some things, install Kali Linux, play around with a couple things, then pick one and talk about your experience. Talk about why it influences you and what ideas it gives you. And then second, find a Python module that you think you could use or others could use. And one thing that I want to stress here throughout this whole project is that we're working together. So we might be doing individual projects, but I want everybody to be really open and share with each other. Now, it doesn't mean share your whole project code with each other and use the same code, but code snippets, tips and tricks, asking questions. Part of this grade for your final project will be how you communicate with the others in the class, how you share your information, and how you work together. It's not just about building a piece of software, but it's working with other developers and communicating. So this discussion board is the first start of it. It's a little longer. Your initial post will be 200 words, but I think it'll come easy. This is really about you trying something out, learning about something, and getting some experience. Now, it's not, let's flip over here. Oh, Blackboard is useless. One second. Okay. Scripting fundamentals. Oh my gosh. Okay. There we go. Course content. Random yet. And by the way, I will move this to week 14 to week 16. If you've noticed the last couple weeks, I've changed a little bit of how I wanted this course to go, mainly because I've been kind of watching what we've been doing, how we've been progressing, and using that to determine what topics we cover. All right, your readings and videos for this week. this is my only video that I'm making for this week, mainly because I want you to spend your time on some other things. So this is going to help you in your lab assignment for the week, which is kind of a pseudo lab, as well as your post on Blackboard. So first, one thing I want you to learn how to do, and this will be part of the quiz this week, will be how to call an external command in Python. Short 6-minute video uses a module called subprocess. Now there's a lot of tools on Mac and Windows and Linux that are already there, and sometimes you don't want to reinvent the wheel. So what you can do is you can call into those external tools and then parse the output in Python. So this is a short video on how to do that, and it's actually pretty simple. You're welcome to incorporate it in your final project. And if you're going to discuss it in your design documentation and your spec. Second is something that's a little near and dear to me. It's how to build really nice, clean command line interfaces. And you're going to see a talk from 2 software developers, one from Heroku, I believe, and another from GitHub, and how they built their command line interfaces with the end user in mind. So there's no programming in this one. It's really just them walking you through their thoughts in designing, how they sketched things out, why they made the choices they did. A few more technical topics. The top 15 ethical hacking tools used by InfoSec professionals. This is just a blog post, but it gives you a start if you're looking for an application to try out for the discussion board this week. Good place to start. Gives you some ideas of some tools to download and try out that you can talk about, kind of use for some ideas for your final project. And then also some useful Python cybersecurity modules. You can talk about these or others. And by the way, the modules that you want to talk about in Blackboard don't necessarily have to be cybersecurity focused. They could be modules you could use for a cybersecurity project. So there's that. So get your discussion board done. Your quiz will be on these, kind of some general questions from other weeks. It won't be too difficult. And then your lab this week, what I want you to do is it's going to be essentially 2 pages. Write up, double-spaced, of ideas that you have for your project. And I'm going to make this due on Friday of this week. The reason is because I need to review them and get feedback to you before your final project starts next Monday. So we're going to make this due Friday at 11:59, my normal time. The good thing is it'll free you up for the weekend, but it makes my weekend become reviewing all of them and getting feedback to you, and actually finishing the couple weeks of back lab grades that I gotta get done. So that's going to be my homework for the weekend, is reviewing all of the write-ups that you have. Finally, during this project, I'm going to encourage communication. And let me take a step back and talk about the project. So it's 3 weeks, 3 parts. First one is your design document. You're going to, and your functional specification. So I'm going to tell you over the next week. So on Sunday, you'll get, hey, here's how to do this, how many pages. It's a write-up. And I want you to sketch out drawings or use Word or Photoshop, whatever you have access to, Paint, I don't care. Sketch out how your user interface is going to look like. What are you trying to accomplish? You have a tool. What does the tool do? So once you have an idea for a tool, which I will post in the lab for this week under graded assignments, what my expectations are. Okay, you have this idea for a tool. I've reviewed it. I've given you some feedback. Okay, what does it look like? How does a user use it? What are the features? What's the result when I run the tool? That's kind of your design document. And then your functional specification. Okay, I got to write the code for this thing. How does it work? What modules do I need? What functions might I have to write? You obviously won't know in detail what exactly you have to do until you start coding it, but it gives you a set of guidance on what to do. Week 2 and week 3 will be development. So essentially, week 2 will be your alpha phase, and then week 3 will be beta, and then a final write up of your application. So you're going to spend 1 week designing, sketching out some pseudocode, building your specification. Week 2 will be, dive deep down into building an application. And then week 3 will be cleaning it up, making sure it looks good, making sure it works, and then writing kind of a final document on its operation. So you're going to build a mini user's manual and give it to me. And I should be able to, theoretically, take this to a client site and run the script. So, for instance, if I want to send a phishing email, or if I want to encrypt some data, I should be able to use your tool in a real cybersecurity scenario. Now, I do understand you're only doing a 3-week project and it's going to be limited, but I really want you to try. I'm hoping that I've given you some valuable information through this course where you can take it back and you can build a project like this. So, in lieu of a final exam, I want you to try something practical. Do a practical application of what you've learned. Finally, and I know this Slack link has probably been showing the whole time, I built a Slack channel out for everyone. And part of your grade is going to be communicating with each other on questions you may have, ideas you may have. And we're going to use Slack for that. So I have a channel. I'll send everybody the link. Channel is called #final-project-chat, and I want everybody to talk about the project over the next 3 weeks. Answer questions people might have. If you have an idea or a thought, throw it out there. Again, multiple people could be working on the same idea, the same script. There's nothing to hide here. One person's grade and work will not affect another's. So I want you to communicate with each other. This isn't a competition. This is you taking the knowledge you have, building a project, assisting others along the way, and trying to really apply Python and cybersecurity topics to a real world example. And again, along the way, I'm going to be here communicating. If people are interested, we can have a couple WebEx chats. Maybe I could open up, maybe like informal, because I know this is an online class, so it's when people are available, like a hour-long office hours over the next couple weeks. So if you have any questions, you can jump on and ask me. But I am hoping that this is going to be an interesting experience that you might not have had in your other courses yet. Again, the whole goal is to get you set up for a good professional experience, so you can go back, you can go to a future employer, you can go to your current employer and say, look, I had this actual real world experience. We learned about Python, we learned about cybersecurity, we tied the two together in theory, and then we applied it. So that's, again, the goal of this project is, hey, this is something you can throw in a portfolio. You can talk about it. Let's help you in your career, and let's help you build some really good knowledge. So, again, if you have any questions this week, shoot me a mail. Just a reminder, your labs from last week aren't due until Tuesday. I just want to give everybody a bit of extra time, considering the API keys for SendGrid were a little wonky and messed up. So, again, if you have any questions, shoot me an email, and I'll talk to y'all soon.